Okay, I'm looking at something up really quickly here. I'm probably gonna have to edit this pretty heavily. But hey, it's the first time I'm trying this on camera, so we'll see how it goes. So yeah. So anyways, this week in cartoon news, we've got mostly good stuff. I'm gonna start with actually a bad story. The Disney Corporation has apparently is now without a chairman, Rich Ross, who has been the chairman of Disney for a couple of years now. Not as long as Eisner, who was his predecessor, has stepped down. Is no longer the chairman of the Walt Disney Company, and they're kind of without a president at the moment right now, which I guess would bother some people. But for the moment, they don't really seem like it doesn't really seem like a big loss. It's not like he was the greatest thing that ever happened to Disney. He wasn't like the worst thing either. He was just kind of there. So and that doesn't seem to have affected people like stock investors or anything like that. Because as I'm reading this article here. Which is like the very last thing on it, says Disney shares rose 34 cents in Friday afternoon trading in the New York Stock Exchange. So the afternoon that the announcement was made, apparently nothing bad happened about it. If anything, it made the investors go up. I never had a problem with Rich Ross as a leader or anything like that, because I always saw him as more of he had more success on Disney Channel, honestly. Like the whole Hannah Montana craze, High School Musical craze. That was pretty much his. Like he was the one in charge of that. So it was not really that big of a deal when he became chairman for those couple of years. I am interested to see who his replacement is, though. See if it's anyone that we actually know. I don't think it's going to be someone like John Lasseter or Brad Bird or anything, because those people just don't stay in charge. Like let John Lasseter take care of Pixar. Brad Bird let him direct stuff, so it'll probably be another person in the corporate world that we do not know about. Next little quick story here. How many of you have ridden the ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride? Because I haven't, because it was gone when I went there that one time. Well, apparently someone thought it was good enough to make into a live-action / CGI movie. Like, they already have the movie, what's it called, The Adventures of Mr. Toad and Ichabod Crane. It's like the one half of a two-part movie. Apparently someone decided that they're going to be making a live-action CG film out. Yeah, they're going to turn that into a film that, there's a couple Disney theme park rides that are getting made into movies, apparently, and this is one of them. I can imagine it working, because I know the basic story of The Wind in the Willows, but I don't really know how they could expand it. Like, even as this article is written, no one stepped up as the writer for it. They have, I think they have potential directors, potential producers, no writers, though, so they don't even know how to expand this into a full movie yet. They just know they want to do it. It could be good. I mean, it's been hit or miss. Pirates of the Caribbean, big moneymaker, $1 billion moneymaker for Disney. Haunted Mansion ride, hardly anyone went to see that. Actually, the first movie that I think was based on a Disney ride was the Tower of Terror movie that came out back in the 90s, and that was okay. I don't know if many people remember it, but it was okay. The Country Bears movie sucked. So this could go either way. I don't really have high hopes for it, but it could go either way. I'll wait to see who the writer is for it once they do get that established, but if this is the future of what Disney films are going to be, just let's make a movie out of our theme park without a plot. Let's just expand it. Somehow, let's expand this. I hope that's not the only thing they do. It's familiar, but if they make it enough so that people actually want to watch it, then sure, why not? Why not? There's absolutely no reason not to, because it's a movie and some people will go see it. Someone out there's going to go see it. This is not over! Bears! Time to play a game of disappearing bears. All the bear references. Oh, Space Mountain movie. Ooh, that would be interesting. Would that be like The Rocketeer, except only on Space Mountain? I don't know. I may see it just for the premise alone. Like, when Battleship, the movie, came out, I saw the commercials for it, I was psyched. I was like, oh my god, how are they going to expand this into a movie? And I heard it's really mediocre, but still, the idea of taking something as ludicrous as a board game, expanding into a movie, let's do the same thing with theme park rides. Okay, next story. Shifting over to Cartoon Network really quickly, and there's going to be a bit of a shift over there. We already know about the Bring Back Toonami thing that's going on right now. Apparently that's enough to get some changes going on in the corporation there. Let me read the story fresh here. Jason DeMarco is named the Vice President, Strategic Marketing and Partnerships for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. Basically, this is the same guy who was kind of around in the heyday of Toonami and Magoozy, if any of you remember that. It was kind of the guy who gave the label for it, sort of like those buffers in between you see, and the overall design for it. Someone had to be in charge of that, and if I'm reading this correctly, he was one of the big guys who helped kind of create that atmosphere that's going on, and it made a good introduction to anime for a lot of people. So his role upgrading to Vice President here, apparently, I think it's connected to the whole Bring Back Toonami thing. Cartoon Network, I've said this before, has been making a big improvement over the past year. 1 year ago, I would have said that they totally suck, they're irredeemable, that I'll only watch them for their shows that are already on Boomerang anyway. They've had a lot of good shifts over the years. They've, or this year specifically, they've added DC Nation, which has been a really good Saturday morning block to highlight the DC cartoons, which, as I've heard from people, are way better than the comics nowadays anyway. They've added Cartoon Planet on Fridays, sort of a highlight of their classic cartoons, which were, some of them were kind of out of print for a while, or not out of print, just off of TV, so you couldn't really find them, unless it was on, like, iTunes and stuff like that. And also this possible bringing back Toonami thing just shows that they're kind of catering to a smarter demographic, not just throw our money into live action or just throw it into animation. No, spread it out evenly. Mix of old, mix of clever new stuff, and just don't freaking mess it up, please. There are some stuff that we need to get rid of. I haven't seen any of the live action shows, so I can't judge. But yeah, it's Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network! Please, downgrade the live-action stuff, please. I was already worried when they made Inside Jimmy's Head, or the film that came before it, Reanimated, that really horrible film. It's like mixed live-action with it was Flash, something like that. It was just really, really crappy. I didn't like it at all. So yeah, a shift in management here from a guy who apparently is pretty good at the flavor of it, sort of that, how the company looks, how the channel looks, and just those buffers. Because those buffers, like those 5-second bits that you see, are kind of important. They kind of set the atmosphere of the whole channel, and it has to be done very carefully, or else people aren't going to watch it at all. Even if the shows are really good, those in-between segments there have to be really, really clever as well. This next one is a little sadder, actually. We've had a death in the past week, actually. And this one is, you probably don't know the guy. I didn't know him either, but I think he still deserves a mention because we kind of need what he brings to the animation world. Okay, French Disney voice actor John Stout died at 78 last week. And basically, he, okay, for every major release that comes out, they get dubbed into multiple languages, right? French market's been pretty good about dubbing Disney movies into France so that their audiences can be exposed to it more. Same way that we dub anime from Japanese into English instead of just putting subtitles at the bottom there. So, John Stout was has been around since literally since the 1970s when The Jungle Book came out. And so that's a pretty wide stretch of time doing that there, and I'm glad that we have that available because if you're a fan of importing stuff, but you sometimes feel there's a gap because you have to read the subtitles at the bottom, then there's a reason to dub stuff in. I mean, sometimes it's not good, but sometimes it's very good, and it helps bridge that language gap. So yeah, there was really a need for this, and I salute you, Mr. John Stout, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. I can't pronounce it. It's either Jean or Jean. I believe it would be pronounced Jean. I apologize for that. I really apologize for that. My monolinguism is showing, apparently, really badly right now. His just for a note, his last dubbing role was for a re-release, upcoming re-release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from, of course, that was in 1937. So the guy's been all over Disney. So if you're French and you've been watching Disney movies in your language, this is the guy to thank. This is the guy to thank. So that was a little depressing, but I think we have one last story to uplift us a little bit, to make us all really, really happy. We're coming at you live from updates from Pixar. So, yes, everyone needs to practice their French. Okay, recently Pixar announces more details on films slated all the way up to 2015, actually. This was at the CinemaCon, where Pixar announced 3 films that are in the works. The first one, and I'm just going to read the quote directly from the article here, is the first one is called The Good Dinosaur, coming out in 2014. And the synopsis for it is, wrap your mind around this. What if the cataclysmic asteroid that forever changed life on Earth actually missed the planet completely, and giant dinosaurs never became extinct? I gotta admit, I kinda want to know what that's like. What would happen if dinosaurs continued to exist, and there wasn't like that cutoff where they just got rid of and then life advanced from Homo sapiens? I already want to see that film. So yeah, it does sound, well, it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like We're Back, a dinosaur movie. It sounds a lot more like the Flintstones than anything else, except yeah, set in modern day. And I know we've heard a crazy synopsi I'll go with that, from Pixar before, but we've never really been disappointed with any of the premises, except Cars 2 is questionable, but we're gonna let that slide. But as far as original concepts go, pretty much every one of their films has worked, despite how crazy it sounds. Like a rat who wants to be a chef, and they're like, you can't make a movie out of that! Bam! Ratatouille, you just got owned! And I got I got an Oscar to prove it! So, if this is, the premise sounds a little silly, but I think it would work out. Especially in the hands of Pixar. We just trust Pixar. We just trust them. As well as this next movie. The next one, which is going to be coming out in summer 2015, is going to be directed by Pete Docter, who's the guy who directed Monsters, Inc. and Up. And it is literally titled, in brackets, like for now, the untitled Pixar movie that takes you inside the mind. I want to see that. I want to see how they use their power with graphics to I suppose embody how the mind would be like if you were to go inside the mind of someone. It's like, yes, please. And I don't think anyone's done that before. I can't think of any character or any movie that's done that. The only one that comes to mind is that one Fairly OddParents episode where Timmy gets shrunk down in his shrink-a-suit, and he goes into Vicky's brain, and he meets all of the emotions inside Vicky's mind. But that's about it. Aside from that, I can't really think of anything else. And it's by Pete Docter, so I anticipate a lot of whimsy with a sentimental core to it, which is what we all plan. And okay, one last one from Pixar, and this is literally at the tail end of the whole thing. And I'm just gonna get straight. Finally, a new movie about the Mexican holiday Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, was announced, with Lee Unkrich named as director and Darla K. Anderson as producer. Okay, Lee Unkrich was the co-director of Toy Story 3. Just so you know that, the co-director of Toy Story 3. This movie doesn't have a release date for it yet, but we know the main people behind it, and we know who it is, or what it's going to be about. Yeah, of course I guess Spanish, right? Because I had 4 years of it. Or not 4 years. I had 2 years of it in high school, and I had 1 year of it in college. I can at least get the accent right. French, not so much. All you had to say was the title! Well, there you go. The unnamed Dia de los Muertos film from the guy who co-directed Toy Story 3. And because we love Pixar so much, we know that they're not going to screw up anything. Nothing about them is going to go wrong. Nothing at all. They can't screw up. It is impossible for them to screw it up. It is absolutely impossible. It is like a mathematical impossibility. It's like trying to imagine what exists beyond outer space. My mind just can't grasp it. So yes, anything that Pixar makes is going to be good. They can't do wrong! They can do nothing wrong! Whatsoever! Trust me, they can do nothing wrong! Okay, so that's the highlights for this week. So, I guess I will try this again next week, and maybe try to be a little more prepared, because there's just so much stuff going on in the world. Lion King 2 isn't that bad, someone says. Actually, you're right, it's not that bad. But the best Disney sequel, and I will stand by this for the rest of my life, is Lilo and Stitch 2. Lilo and Stitch 2 is the best Disney sequel. BAM!